now that the Pokemon 2025 VGC season is over, I wanted to take a look at the stats, and I want to know what you guys think about it. So how many players do you think competed in VGC for US and Canada, and how many points do you think was needed to qualify for Worlds? Remember, it's only top 75 this year. Now, I've always had problems with the championship point system because it used to be 0 skill, pay to win. If you had a fat enough wallet, you could just go to Worlds no matter how bad you were at the game because of the best finish limit being broken. But this is even worse. Like, you actually have to win and do well at events because it's only top 75, but 970 championship points are needed. You have to be a trust fund kid. And like, if you're the thing is, if you're making enough money to travel and go to this many events to spend the tens of thousands of dollars just to like compete for Pokemon, it means you have to have like a really good job, and your job isn't going to let you take the time off that is needed to do the 10 events to get the 900 points. So that's ridiculous. Now remember, if you got top 4 at international championships or first place in a regional, you do go to Worlds, and I don't know if that changes the qualifiers. Is it just top 75, the rating is the rating, or is it top 75 once the players that won regionals and got top 4 at internationals have been removed, so it's actually like top 80-ish or something? It's going to be a guarantee that people that have won regionals or gotten top 4 in internationals are going to be in this top 75 list, so I don't know if that like changes the amount of people that get to go, but it's still crazy. And also just kind of like shows the huge problem with not having a best finish limit for internationals. The championship point payout is insane. Also, the top 4 just getting you straight to Worlds is really big, and it's a best finish limit of 5 shared with regionals. So like, you have to go to every international championship and you have to do well, or you're just not getting the 970 championship points that are needed. This is insane. International should be best finish limit 1. Your best international should give you all these points, but now it's again just like, okay, it's wallet diff. If you're able to go to all these events, then you just have a much, much higher chance of making it into Worlds. Because all the VGC players are cheaters that have been getting caught more and more over the years, they have to make up lies about, but it's impossible to compete in Pokemon VGC because I have to spend $60 for Pokemon Sword and Shield, and then the DLC. That's like the least accessible thing ever. When, well, the only reason you want to compete is to like try to make it to Worlds and be the very best like no one ever was. Or if you're just trying to set up for regionals, regionals has thousands of dollars in prize money. So spending a few hundred, even though like another thing that completely makes the argument fall apart is like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield are 2 of the most, like the highest selling Pokemon games ever on the most successful console in all of video game history with the Nintendo Switch. And the whole thing about needing Urshifu before the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC was just BS because it affected 0 players. There was no one that's like, yeah, I'm playing VGC and competitive Pokemon for the first time ever, and I need this Urshifu for my regionals team. And without it, how am I supposed to get to Worlds in May? Also, there's only a few hundred people at regionals, which makes it even less likely that one of them was unable to get an Urshifu. Also, Nintendo Switch, you can have multiple save files, so you just pop open a new user, you speedrun Urshifu in like 1 to 2 hours, and that's it. And there's millions of DLC copies out there. It also shows the whole pay-to-win thing is a complete lie because you don't have to own Pokemon Sword and Shield with DLC to be able to use Urshifu inside of VGC. That you just need Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, don't even need DLC, and you're allowed to use any of the Pokemon in the format. Regional events cost $70 and you're going to be out a few hundred for the weekend, but God forbid you actually have to play a Pokemon game if you want to compete for thousands and tens of thousands of dollars in prizes. So yeah, the Pokemon community is scum, the system is impossibly broken, but what about the amount of players? So again, we got like millions of units sold, and we've only got 2,500 ranked players. And I might be thinking, 2,500, that seems like a decent amount of people for a competitive scene, but then you realize, oh, the point system got juiced with league challenges and league cups, and is it actually like so concerning because there's nothing lower than 8, even though the championship payout goes to 6. Was there actually no league challenge that had more than 33 people? show up, so like a 6 championship point event actually didn't exist. And I wonder, like, what other crazy stories came out. It's like, yeah, I was the only person that showed up, and I just got my 15 championship points and, like, 2 packs of cards or something. If only 4 people show up, half of them get 12 championship points. Because there's so many championship points needed, I don't think this is, like, a competitive integrity issue where it's like, oh, yeah, you just show up and then you automatically go to Worlds. But it's also really annoying because it's 4 of each. 4 League Cups and League Challenges, and you gotta grind those League Cups. Like, you have to get top 2, maybe top 4 in all 4 of them, or else, again, you don't get to go to Worlds. You gotta get your, top 4, because, like, 10 points times 4, there's your 40, compared to 60. You know, you get, like, 50-ish from running all your challenges. That just seems like such an annoying task, and you gotta weave in 8. You have to weave in 8 challenges and cups in between going to every world, or not every world, every regional and international event. And then the numbers are also really weird because we have, like, all these 10s and then 12. So it's like, oh, only 60 people were eligible for 10, so, like, that's only that on the top 4s. And then you got some of the grinders, where it's like, yeah, they show up to multiple events and they get multiple placements and stuff. We got 12 points. Now, this part right here is kind of weird, but also kind of makes sense because I want to be overdramatic. I want to be, there's no 13 points. And the only way you can get 13 points is if you go to a League Cup with 129 people. That's probably, like, for TCG only. Few card shops can actually have that capacity. They're not going to dedicate that to the video games. So, fine, fair. And then we can maybe even see, like, the amount of unique first placements on just getting 15. So we got 2208, and then we got 2111. So, like, 100 people got first place in the League Challenges. And I don't know, like, how that actually parsed out, because I don't even know how many League Challenges there were. Was this every card shop every week just ran a League Challenge because they had it for, like, their local TCG and something? But the point is, when you get into the small numbers, it's like, okay, you can say that, like, 2,600 people competed for Pokemon VGC, but this isn't competitive. These are people that are showing up to the card shop because they have nothing better to do. I did that back when I was in high school. Dad would give us $5 just to get us out of the house, $1 bus to the card shop, and then I'd play Pokemon. I didn't even, like, I never did a city challenge, but I still had multiple Pokemon TCG decks because I love Pokemon. And if someone wanted to battle, I'd pull out my DS and we'd play some Diamond and Pearl battles. I never went for any points or qualifiers. I was just there because it was a gathering of Pokemon people. Then we start seeing some higher amounts of points, and even then, this is just, yeah, even if you have no care of going for Worlds, you might not even go to regionals. You just show up to, like, 4 League Challenges, and then maybe they have, like, a big League Cup every month, and then you just kind of get default points. I wouldn't even consider these, like, VGC players or competitors. These are just people that are hanging around the card shop because that's just what they did before this. We can also look at the championship points for regionals, and I think every event in America had, like, over 500 participants, so it's like, yeah, minimum 60 points, and that's going to be going to 128 people. So that's going to buff up the numbers right there, even though it's like, oh, they're actually not, like, into VGC. They just showed up, and they went 4-4. Because that's actually all it takes to get top 256. You just go 4-4, get your 60 championship points, and you mostly just kind of showed up because it was a fun little Pokemon event going on. That's kind of the only saving grace about VGC. Competitive Pokemon is awful. Play Pokemon is corrupt. Pokemon community is terrible. But if you go to Pokemon Regionals, it's like a Pokemon convention. You can do side events and recoup some of your entry fee on the prize wall and just have fun. But, like, again, 4-4 out of a, like, 500-person regionals to get, like, 250th. And then the championship points are so inflated that even the top 1,000 have 120 points. That's also where we get into some of the Global Challenge stuff. That Global Challenge only has 10,000 people. And that's how I just say, like, definitively, Pokemon VGC is dead. Almost 40,000 people entered the last Global Challenge for Pokemon Sword and Shield. We had 10,000 people, like barely 10,000 people, for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on the last Global Challenge. And the population for Japanese players is also higher, that very few non-Asian players were even in Pokemon Sword and Shield. It's got worse for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So the amount of people, like, entering a Global Challenge, which, if you care about championship points, or you're trying to do some kind of VGC competition, is a 100% necessary thing to enter, and the turnout is lower than it's ever been. So, like, that right there proves VGC is dead. And then, oh, you just get top 1,000 out of a 10,000 person online challenge, which actually isn't that hard to get, like, top 10% if you're a serious player. And then if you're trying to go to Worlds, top 32 3 times with that best finish limit seems pretty necessary. Maybe you can get away with like a top 64, but now that starts getting tricky. You're getting top 32 out of 10,000 players, and your reward is 120 championship points, whereas at regionals, it's also going to be a top 32 out of 600 players. So yeah, it's harder to find the amount of like serious VGC players. Probably like once we get over 400 into the mid 350s, sure. So it kind of makes sense that the amount of like actual players in contention or competitive players is going to be lower than the turnout of the average regional championship. Because again, most people are just kind of showing up because there's a Pokemon convention in town, not because they actually care about competitive Pokemon. Because again, like no one cares about competitive Pokemon. No one in VGC actually plays the games. It's all cheaters. And then everyone else knows this and either abstains or again just kind of shows up because Pokemon convention. So despite other people saying like, this is the biggest VGC has ever been, this is like the best year for competitive Pokemon, all these records being shattered, we got like 400 maybe competitive players, 95% of which are cheaters. And if you just want to play competitive Pokemon generally, not even like casually, but like if you're just interested in competitive Pokemon or VGC, it's down 80%. No one outside of Japan is playing Pokemon competitively. The in-game ladder is a ghost town and just feels really bad. And then, like, again, you look at all the weirdness going on here where it's like, yeah, some people are showing up, but compared to the millions of sales, it's really bad. But I think it mostly goes back to the global challenge. I've already brought this up a couple of times. I also get a lot of comments of people saying, oh, where are you getting these numbers from about the global challenge? If you don't know how to find it, you are far too ignorant for this discussion. Like, you're actually an idiot that knows nothing about competitive Pokemon, which is why you defend cheating or deny the fact that Wolfglick is a cheater. And then you're an NPC that can't think for themselves, so you just blindly follow the lies and bullshit in this evil community. Real cool. Real great. So yeah, this is definitely the most dead competitive Pokemon has been in the 3D era. You can't really count anything before that because VGC was barely supported, and also it was really hard to get competitive Pokemon in Generation 5 because you didn't even have Destiny Knot. So everyone was cheating. It was a mess. It was unplayable. And then now it's like, yeah, turns out cheating kills the game. And without banning Wolfglick or all the other top players and all the other confirmed cheaters inside of Pokemon, you just gotta see the same thing over and over again. You look at the North American International Championship Finals, 2 confirmed cheaters. Same thing for all the like regional top 4 videos and all the events going on because hacked Pokemon give an insurmountable advantage. And it's impossible for legitimate players to compete. So you don't have any legitimate players competing or trying to play. I want to say, hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day, but this is just unenjoyable garbage and it's not giving any hope for Pokemon champions. The Pokemon company, especially like Play Pokemon and the corruption there, isn't doing what needs to be done to make competitive Pokemon the biggest it's ever been. Instead, they're actively killing the scene by letting their friends cheat. And that's not good. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.